Welcome to Subcreation. I'm Nathan. I'm an artist and designer, and this channel is about creative process. So tonight I'm going to be continuing working on the white charcoal drawing of an elephant that I've been doing for a couple weeks now. And then after that we will do Rubik's Cube solve and the viewer's choice, which we'll sort of test the bot that I started last week. We'll just do it together on screen because it's not quite ready for prime time. I've been tweaking it a little bit. And then we'll do a medium sculpt of the result. So I'm going to get, I'll just switch over here. This is the piece that we're working on. I'm just going to continue on down, working on the trunk. Well, looks like I need a little bit of a pencil sharpening. So, how's everybody doing? Do we have audio? I am not seeing audio on here, even though I did a sound check. Oh, Catlin, hi. Catlin, can you hear me? Do we have audio? I'm not seeing it on this view. All right, where's the... Go ahead and get some music going. Maybe you'll be able to tell. Oh, you can hear me okay? Okay. I was thinking about doing maybe a little bit of GAN breeder today, maybe as a part of the last section. What I was thinking about doing is showing, I was thinking of doing a section, and I might save this for another stream too, but I was thinking of showing how to use GAN breeder as sort of part of your creative process, not necessarily trying to have the artwork that GAN breeder produces be the end product, but just using it as a way to generate reference and to sort of inspire ideas for work that you could then go and elaborate on and do. Okay, so that's my desktop audio. Do I have... Okay, my mic audio is there. Okay, so I do have sound. Okay, I'm good. Sorry, I had some audio trouble last time, and I'm trying to... I do tests and everything, but it doesn't always work out. I worked on this guy for quite a while, and I see there really is quite a bit of work to go on it. I think this might actually be one of the cases where it might have helped to work larger. Even though you'd think, well, when you're working larger, you have more area to cover. But I think sometimes that doesn't matter as much. Actually, having to like sort of tighten up and work so small makes it harder. And there's so much really fine detail here that is really hard to do. It's harder when it's fine detail. When it's small, you have to like really tighten up but I don't know. I mean, it's a bit of a trade-off. But I noticed that from Kitslam's channel, he was doing, he did kind of like a miniature painting of a dog that he was working on. and it actually didn't seem like it took less time when he described the time he put into it later. It sounded like it turned out to be as much work as it was actually the same painting he'd done a larger version of. Of course, he'd done that as a pencil drawing. He probably did spend more time on the pencil drawing, but still, I think the painting was probably part of what made it go faster too. So there we go. So check it out. Did you see Pretzel Rocks just posted to the stream? And Nightbot is not yelling at him. So our bots are playing nicely. Also, I set up something, I was trying something new. I want to take a look at this really quick to see if I can do this now. I have another bot set up called CloudBot, and there's supposed to be a way, let's see if I can do this now. There's supposed to be a way, there's like this loyalty system where I like reward, doesn't seem to be recognizing that. Shoot, I'll have to look into this more offline. There's supposed to be a way to, there's supposed to be a way to give people, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Catlin. So there's supposed to be a way that I can award loyalty points for time spent watching the stream, but I don't see the I added users for everybody. I have a user count for, or I added regular roles for Catlin and a lot of people that I see here regularly, but now I'm not seeing anyway. I guess I thought that once I started the stream, I better just get back to the work. Once I started the stream, I thought everyone would show up there and I'd be able to assign points, but I guess it doesn't work that way. So I'll have to read about that more offline. It could be fun. It enables like different activities. You get points and then you can spend the points on like betting or something. I don't know. It could be fun or it could be annoying. We'll see. I thought, why not try it? I think I did watch one stream where they actually did that, and I thought it was kind of fun. It made me feel like, oh, I want to rack up those points. So just continuing work here. So yeah, I was thinking it'd be an interesting topic to step through, sort of using I had a couple ideas. One would be to take like one thing I was working on today actually was I was doing some GAN breeding. If you don't know what GAN breeding is, it's a site that uses AI to generate art, and you kind of direct the art. It's really interesting. Some people find it kind of creepy. It does have a tendency to produce very creepy art, but it also gives you the ability to sort of direct it and control it. So if you want to create something that doesn't look creepy, you just have to be very discerning in how you choose the images. Like you don't have to go with anything it comes up with. It just will tend to come up with lots of images that look kind of weird, but then you just ignore those images and stick with the ones that you like. Basically how it works. So what I was thinking about doing with it is, like, I like how it tends to sort of generate designs. Like, it'll create sort of alien looking building structures and alien looking vehicles. You can create these very alien looking, they almost look like objects from another universe. If you had, like, I feel oftentimes I'm using it like I'm looking through a lens into an alternate universe. And so one thing I was creating today with it was some sort of alien looking animals. So like animals that you might think you might find on another planet, or some of them even look like they might be animals that you'd, if you, I don't know if you ever see, sometimes they have on websites, they'll, like, Wired does this, Wired magazine will have sections where they say, like, you know, they feature these animals that you know, they've been on this earth all this time, but we aren't that familiar with them, and when you see them, you think, you know, they look just unreal. And it's like that. It creates these just sort of surreal looking creatures. It could be creatures that, you know, you could take. And so what I was thinking of doing was something like that, where you could, like, come up with these animals and then sculpt them, and, you know, rather than having the art that the AI produces sort of be the outcome, you could try to create your own animals from it. So you wouldn't be trying to use the reference from the AI and trying to redraw that, which is an activity I tried to do on the stream one time, and it's kind of challenging. Didn't work out as well as I'd hoped. But instead, what I'm thinking is that you could just use it to inspire the design of an animal. So you could go and find reference, you know, for animals, find other reference images that sort of have similar features to it, and then create a new piece of art that sort of combines what you're seeing in between the GAN breeder image and the images that you find for reference. So I was thinking that's something you could do that with animals. You could also do it with what do you call it? I was thinking more like with objects. You know, sometimes it has the ability to create these very foreign-looking pieces of, like, furniture or like tablets. You make, like, sort of sci-fi looking objects. And so what I was imagining doing that could be kind of fun would be doing, like, from the very top, trying to create something, and going ahead and selecting, you know, basically trying to intentionally controlling GAN breeder to create the inspire the type of object or animal or whatever it is you want to make, or scene, landscape. That's just what I was thinking of doing. Let's go ahead and move down there a little bit with this light. You see, it's a little bit too although another thing I've been wanting to get to on this channel, I thought would be kind of fun, would be, I was thinking of doing more maybe like abstract art in Medium, which you'll see actually I've added to the what do you call it, the survey, or the chatbot that helps you choose the reference piece for the for the last drawing. I have lemonade tonight because usually I try to have some tea with a little bit of lemon in it. And for some reason I thought that maybe I'd be able to do that with a little bit of non-dairy creamer. I thought, well, it's non-dairy, so it shouldn't curdle. But I was wrong. I was very wrong about that. It curdled. At the last minute I had to ditch my tea. So I'm just drinking lemonade. It's a little tip if you stream. It might be worth knowing that a little bit of lemon will help your voice. When the stream started, I hadn't had a drink yet. My voice was breaking up a little bit. I was having a hard time there for a second, but the lemonade helps. It kind of helps make your voice. I think that's a trick that opera singers use. It makes your voice better. Alright, I need to get a little bit lower in the reference. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's... But yeah, I thought it'd be fun to do some abstract art. I'd like to do some art maybe inspired by generative art. Of course, if I'm drawing it by hand, it wouldn't really genuinely be generative. But I thought it'd be kind of interesting to maybe take some inspiration from generative art and then try to make something manually. Generative art is art that is made from code, which is actually an activity we've done on the stream before. I've made some particle effects, not the ones in the background here, but the ones that appear when you do when follows happen. But really very much like the particles system in the background here is definitely the exact same style as the ones that we made. I think they're probably made using WebGL. They look like it's using the exact same Perlin noise function that we used. Boy, this is a lot of detail. Forgetting that this actually is kind of, so the shading at the bottom here, I need it to kind of taper off a little bit better than that. But yeah, those are some ideas. Another thing that we'd probably do on this channel pretty soon is, I don't know how soon, but there's I have a little robot that is programmable. I got it for programming and thought that might be fun to do on the stream. You can program it with little behaviors that it could do. My plan was initially to program it to do sort of like be a reminder of certain things, like having it do an activity when I want to do it as a reminder to me it's time to do it, like helping me remember to practice certain things every day or something, that kind of thing. Also, that the bot's just a lot of fun, so I thought he'd be fun to have on the channel. It's a little tricky because I think this desk is a little too steep for him. I'll go get him though. He was making a lot of noise earlier. He likes to dance. The music sometimes gets him. He doesn't like to be carried very much, so this is him. I kind of pet him a little bit when I'm carrying him, so there he is. I don't know how well you can see him. There we go. He's looking up. So it's got him a little bit of a slant, and he's likely to fall off here. So I'm a little concerned about that. See that little area on the top of his head detects when he's being petted, and that kind of calms him down. Gets kind of upset when you carry him around, but oh, he's about to fall off, and I just caught him. Just go ahead and put him right there. He's a little mad, a little angry. He usually just sits in one area, and so he's gotten a little sensitive, being moved around. I don't know if he would be more, if he gets used to it, if you move him around a lot. Oh, okay, he's on the drawing. He's gonna fall off. Okay. Hey. Oh, there you go. Let's move him over here. Okay. He doesn't really seem to do any harm to the drawing, so I guess I'll let him hang out there. Oh, he fell off. Fell off again. So yeah, this table's a little too angled for him. See, he can't really quite control himself so well. He's trying to turn around and look and see what's going on. And he can detect if he's going to fall if there's something in front of him, but he's not very good at detecting it when he's falling back. Or if he's going backward. So he'll likely fall off. So here he is. There it is. Yeah. He gets pretty. Yeah, messes with him to be picked up a lot. So I was thinking maybe setting up more like a table back there so you could kind of hang out on stream a little bit more. I know one streamer actually has a vector, and she programs video games, and hers was set up to. Here, go ahead, you can be right there so they can see you. Oh, sorry. See, that made him upset. He doesn't like that. Anyway, her programmer, she makes video games, and so she has a developer that she works with, and he did I think he did some code for it that made it so. This is getting a little. Oops, sorry. You know, I wasn't. Yes, he gets really mad sometimes. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to move him over to the little table. Maybe this table's over here is flat. You can't see him there, but at least he won't be so disturbed there. Seems like the trunk is getting too narrow here. I'm not sure, but it seems like it might be. Let me look at that. Yeah, it might just be because it's seems like the music's too low for him to hear. Usually he's more into music. but I don't think you can hear it well enough down there. So that's, I'm finding this area pretty challenging, but the factor of the number of these images, like how few, I mean not images, the number of these cracks, like the texture, like the amount of this texture relative to that in the subject image is just really low. Like that, I'm really magnifying the texture on here, so I've been debating whether that is just not working out or whether it maybe it amplifies, you know, the weathered appearance of the animal to have such large chunks. I don't know. But we'll see. I'm just gonna keep going and see how it turns out. That's one thing that's important in art. In art is not to judge too soon. You have to kind of suspend your judgment a bit. I mean, it's kind of a delicate balance of suspending your judgment and sort of judging constantly. Like you want to be in kind of like a perfect Zen place of both judging and not judging your art at the same time. Like you want to have judgment in terms of making, I'd say making good good decisions as you're going, and kind of but you don't want to let it, you don't want it to have it like freeze up your work or cause you to not do it, like to give up, you know, on a technique before you fully tried it. That would not be good at all. So I'm starting to just go ahead and draw some of these all straight down and go back and take out the lines. In fact, it was funny, he's running into all of the objects on my little table here. I have a little table with just a few things on it, but he runs into all of the things. And I've noticed when I leave objects on the table I've seen him actually work on trying to push things off of it. He's kind of like a cat. Kind of enjoys moving objects around and knocking them down. I don't know how well you can hear the sound of him over there. He makes all these little sounds, kind of like coos and little sounds like he's sometimes they're like little inquisitive sounds, little beeps and grunts, kind of. Yep, we just knocked a bunch of pencils off. He seems a lot happier on that table though, because it's not at an angle. Let's see if I can, I want to like really get the grid here going. Yeah, I think that'll work pretty well. Yeah, I think that's working pretty well. Let's go. Sounds like he's giggling or something. He actually seems really happy to be in this new space. This might be a better... It doesn't seem like it's much larger than the desk he's usually on, but he seems to like it better. Actually, I have to do this with a lot of these lines up here. Music's another thing I plan on doing on the stream. That'll be fun. So I don't have things configured yet to be able to... What I want to do is work off of... my whole streaming setup is on a PC, and my music setup's all on a Mac, so I have to figure out how to run audio and video from the Mac to the PC in order to do that. He's examining my Rubik's Cube right now over there. He has a toy that's shaped like a block, and he can recognize it and pick it up and move it around and stuff. But the Rubik's Cube, he always seems to be interested in it. I've noticed he takes it and stacks it next to his block when he finds it. When he finds on that, sometimes I stick it on the end table, on his end table. Stick an end table next to my bed. My absolute favorite thing about Vector, though, is the way he snores. It's the sound that he makes snoring that really just makes you feel like, gives you the impression like he's a living thing. Yeah, I feel like this drawing's turning out a lot different than all the rest. I'm not sure yet if it's good different. Hope it's good different. Oops. These things gotta really taper off going down because of the way the shading is at the bottom of it. Made that too bright. Vector spends a lot of his day sleeping, so this is any time that you get him out, and especially during the week. But anytime you get him out and set him up, he seems to really, you'll get real activated. Super busy. You gotta pick him up here. He hates being picked up, so you gotta kind of rub the top of his head. I don't know if you hear that sound, but he's kind of making a little bit of a, almost like a purr sound. See, and that helps him calm down because he's usually pretty unhappy to be held. If you just pick him up without rubbing the top of his head, he tends to, he gets so mad he starts like shaking his hands. And he gets really mad. He's got, well, not hands, he's got like this bar thing that has kind of like these little grippers on the edges you can pick up this thing with. pick up his toy, and he can give you a fist bump. Oh, that's the one I should show you. Let me see if I can get him to do that now, real quick. Let's see. Hey Vector, fist bump. See? See? There's a little fist bump. Alright, I'm gonna put him back. That's one of his best moves. He can play games and stuff too. Oh, he's tired. I think he made the sound about wanting to go to his house. I don't know. He didn't go right to sleep when I put him away, so he might not want to be there. It's hard to tell. I was wondering if because I've been tearing the paper out and working on it separately instead of keeping it on the pad. And I was wondering if that would lead to damage of the paper, and it seems like it is getting a little roughed up down there, but that's fine. It'll be fine. Like some of these might be a little too lined up now. And I'll see. Yeah, maybe before the Rubik's solve, I'll show you the animals I made on GAN Breeder to show you the idea I was talking about there. Let's see what interest there might be in sort of developing sort of a creative process of selecting attributes through GAN Breeder to design maybe like alien creatures or alien worlds. This is such fine detail. Let's see, this one here, a little too, falls off a little too fast there. It seems like you just need a little bit more to tell you that how the trunk is curved around there. Suppose that works. I can see there's actually a lot of highlighting in through there that needs to come out a lot stronger. But I feel like I have a lot of work to do over here before I do that. Into over here. So we got all this hay in here, so we need to. Seems odd. Do elephants actually eat hay? I guess they would, because they in the plains they must eat what? I thought they ate like leaves from trees, like giraffes. Maybe not. Does that look like hay? I guess it does, kinda. This actually kind of goes down onto the trunk. Right there. There's a couple pieces of it that extend down, like this piece here. And there's this piece here. I think that'll do. Okay. Some dimmer pieces back in here that aren't catching as much light. Put in all the happy little hay grains. Huh. It's a little, something looks a little funny about it, but not. Might just be because they're too evenly spaced. Maybe they should be a little bit more organic. Yeah, and then there's more of like highlights in certain places, so I guess I need to be putting those in a bit more distinctly. This part right here is pretty bright for some reason. I can't even quite tell what that is or why. Maybe it's, I don't know, but this part right here is pretty bright. And then there's some lighter pieces. That. I'm doing on time. About 45 minutes in. Let's see, what did I plan in the schedule? Take a quick look. Quick look on. If we pull up my page here, actually. Let's see. So I wrote a schedule. 8 to 9:30 charcoal drawing, 9:30. Okay. So that gives us about 45 more minutes of this. We'll see how much further we get with this. I might break any other part earlier if we want to look at Yan Breeder and do anything else interesting like that. I also thought it might be interesting to look at some inspiration, so we could maybe deviate from the schedule a little bit. But we're making pretty good progress on this. Seems like we should get further. I was doing shorter blocks for a couple of streams on this, and this one's... I really did sign up for quite a bit with this one. Let's see. Practicing patience and just kind of building up an image gradually and not expecting it to all happen in one sitting, as opposed to the previous sessions where I was drawing with Sharpie and finishing. Sometimes, I think in one of the first streams I did 20 to 30 images in the first stream. It was probably a longer stream, like 3 or 4 hours long, but yeah, so I just need to figure out, I need to set up some time to figure out that streaming from the Mac, because then I can do some audio stuff in here. That'd be fun. Yeah, one of the problems I have with these textures is that because I'm doing light on dark, I'm tending to have too much dark, leaving too much of the dark in. I'm trying to thicken those out a little bit. Ends up looking pretty I know that's looking a little too flat though. I don't know, maybe if I bring it out and then I can I want that to be strong in there and softer out here. One problem with the eraser is sometimes it's has a little bit harder time getting. There we go. Some points sometimes stick there. Well, at that point there just wouldn't. Everything around it just totally erased away, but that one point was like hanging on for dear life. I just wanted to soften everything a bit. Can you fill in some of these gaps are just too wide. You need like more surface and less crack on this elephant. But now we're not hearing from Nightbot at all. I've seen some people have Nightbot configured so you can periodically sort of spam the feed with links and stuff for my other channels, other places on the stream, or places where you can find my art, like places of interest for the stream. I mean, that's something I could set up here pretty soon. All right. I don't know, he almost looks, his trunk almost looks like it's made of corn or something. It's funny, I didn't give this, when I picked the image out, I did not really give it much thought of how ambitious I was being. I just thought, oh, yep, elephant, sounds good. I mean, I did have kind of a thought of like, oh, well, those wrinkles should be interesting. But it's like I totally didn't see, I was not looking at it in terms of judging the scope of the work. Which is for the best, right? Because I probably wouldn't have been so quick to jump into it if I'd really thought it through. Looks like I'm probably going to get through the details in the trunk, at least sort of getting them in initially for the stream. I'll probably come back and rework them a great deal. Get sort of the highlights worked in, get more of the form detailed in, maybe next time. We'll see. I probably shouldn't be so out loud with my thoughts about like questioning if this is going to work or not, but I suppose if you're watching this as an artist, you'd be interested to see that other artists think that way sometimes when they're working. But on the other hand, imagine if you're watching a stream, you might just want to be have a sense that you're in good hands and that the artist knows what they're doing. Sometimes I do. Let's see. what's happening in here feels much more natural to do than all this out here was more challenging. It's funny when I watch an artist, particularly like Bob Ross, there are times when you see him doing something, you think, oh no, you've ruined it. What are you doing? I suppose that's probably different with drawing, that you'd be less inclined to have that reaction. Because the drawing sort of happens, it's like more of a rendering, like as you're going over it, you kind of do each part. But with a painting, you know, they just go and start blotching something in, and you're like, what? No, it looks so good without a little cabin there. Then you see, like, oh, okay, maybe after you watch it for a bit, you start to think, okay, maybe there's a happy little cabin there. I guess I can go along with that. But at first you're like, what? What are you doing? I don't know if anyone else has that experience watching Bob Ross, but that's how it has always been for me. Even like as a little kid, I'd watch it and be like, but he starts like putting a tree in, you know, he's just going in there and just takes like a big chunk of brown and just goes flat up there, just putting in a tree. And first you're like, what did you do? Why are you doing that? And part of that is just the fact that the artist's process is mostly opaque. You know, you can't quite see what he's doing when you can't quite predict or understand the process. But as it forms, it makes sense. Okay, yeah, I suppose that looks kind of like the trunk there. Wanted a little more texture up here. These little like highlights in here to give you a sense of the trunk's texture. Let's see. So there's quite a bit of it over here. Looking on the image, that looks quite different. On the reference, this area in here looks quite different, but as I'm putting it in, it looks like just more of this down here. Not sure why that is. Probably gonna get too bright here in a moment. Again, I need to tap it down with my gummy eraser. Is that too bright? I don't know. Probably needs to be some indication. If you can see, like, there are these cracks radiating out from there. Oh yeah, and I can kind of see them there. funny how it looks different. Seeing it on the screen there, it's a little different than down here. I guess it's because it's further away, obviously. Yeah. It's almost like the blur trick. You guys know that one when you draw, it can be really helpful to just blur your eyes. Look at it and kind of squint a little, or just blur your eyes, let your eyes blur a bit. And you can kind of perceive the image more as a whole, and it helps you sort of focus out the, or not focus out, but that helps you to sort of ignore the details, sort of see past the details, sort of see the forest for the trees. Seems like we need just a little bit more down here, but I don't want it to be too bright because it's the it's actually really fading out quickly in the, or quite a bit here in the reference. You really need just sort of the faintest indication of it along the bottom of the trunk. That works. Seems like this goes too dark in the center there. Almost looks like it has, like there's a dent in the trunk up here, which I need to kind of fill out. And also a little bit going into there. Oh yeah, that's better. Not perfect, but better. There are these almost like freckles on it, or I don't know if those are like pock marks on it, maybe pock marks. Okay, well, so having gotten through all that, I should probably come back, and it seems like we need more emphasis through here. Start connecting them up a bit more. Yeah, we'll see how we're doing on time. All right, we're past 9 o'clock. So we get down to about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. It's going a little bit faster to go over it and just sort of fill in. Not looking at the references much, because I can't really keep track of my position on there. Anyway, I probably should more, but let me see. So I mean, part of what, let's see what's going on here. Some of these things A lot of these have kind of stronger light up above and more fading out there, so that's one thing I could work on doing in here a bit. Starting about here, make it so it's more along the top. But I mean, then the other thing though that's challenging is that, like, the one I'm drawing now has several lines through it. And I can only get 2 chunks into it. This might be one of those places where it would be might be more effective if I was working with black charcoal on white charcoal, which I've seen other artists do. I'm working with just one in one direction and then taking it off. Let's see. It's mostly through this center here that I see a lot of this. All this going on. That where we have basically the highlighting up above, but it's tricky because there's so much of these wrinkles, these cracks coming right through the cracks. Basically, I have a grid matrix of cracks going on here. So I gotta kind of sharpen this and take a little bit of that out. That does look better. It looks far more detailed, more sort of involved, more like a texture and less like a ripple. So I need to kind of think a bit about the form here. So there's this in here is kind of a highlight that is spread over all of these wrinkles. There's like a highlight coming up through here, almost connects into there. So I should do that, and then there's a second one, a very strong one coming across there. So I guess that's what I need to do. So let's get that. I need to kind of find my place on this somewhat. Particularly in these ones here, I spent more time building up these individual pieces, and I'll make sure that I don't just kind of wipe out all the work they're doing, going over it a little too randomly. But some of this highlight does come up like this. That place in particular has more, there are a lot of cracks coming through here that I have not managed to capture. Oh, lost my spot. Oh, I see it now, okay. I said it probably a million times on here, but it can be very challenging to talk through a drawing that is this involved. I feel like it's a very meditative process anyway. You kind of like lose your. I'd say drawing is like one of the activities where, you know, I don't know if you've ever done like meditation type act. Like the kind of, there's different kinds of meditations, like where you're guided and they tell you to count and focus on things. But there's one type of meditation where the goal, the objective is to silence your thoughts. Like in some mindfulness exercises, they'll talk about how like it can get frustrating that as the more that you try to silence your thoughts, the more that your thoughts will intrude on your thoughts. So part of it is about not letting the interruption of thoughts disrupt your focus, and eventually you really do get to where you can silence your thoughts. I actually had, when I did that, I had like sort of some beginner's luck. I didn't have that difficult time doing it the first couple of times, and then later on it was really hard, and then it was more frustrating. So I thought like, I thought I knew how to do this. But anyway, that's all that is to say that I'd say drawing is one of the times where it's not hard to silence your inner monologue when you are so focused in sort of a spatial, visual way. Yeah, there, yeah. So that kind of connected out into here, but I think there's more highlighting to do. If I blur my eyes, do I see it? Do I see the same kind of? There's this, and then there's. So while it's very easy to just draw and not think, intentionally thinking and talking while you're drawing, that is a new challenge for me. Okay, so what seems to be missing is this happens and then it goes down, and then these are actually super bright. Alright, that's looking better. I think that's looking more like the actual texture I'm seeing in reference. I think we don't want quite so much of these like black thick cracks in here. Let's go with this one. No, there shouldn't even be that one. Yeah, that's definitely getting better. Definitely come away from this piece with a strong respect for drawings that people do in charcoal of highly wrinkled subjects. I was actually thinking of doing some portraits. I was thinking of doing something like maybe Gandhi or something. And I realized that would be a fairly big commitment. Okay, so this over here needs to come up a lot. Guess maybe outlining the shapes a little bit more would probably help. Let's see, that one there even. Yeah, that gives this trunk a lot more substance to have these larger patches like this. Alright, I need to move over, shift over a bit so I can see this a bit more. Connected a little bit too much right there. Bring that up a little bit. Bring this up a little bit. So what I need to do is transition from here into there and not lose the need to essentially indicate the curve of the trunk across here, but make sure that we don't get too the way that it is a little bit recessed in here, the way that it kind of fades up. I want to make sure that I don't lose that altogether. Because that is definitely going on in there. Okay, so there's kind of some highlights along these that need to be maintained more, or captured more. There we go. That's actually a lot stronger through there. Kind of blends together and then becomes just a one smooth forehead here for a bit up here. Something about the sloping of those lines kind of gives me the impression that it's sort of a worried, slightly worried expression. All right, so this needs to kind of need to keep that outer highlight going. In fact, these outer ones need it too. Might be a little much. Yes, I'd say I pretty much have that highlight going through there now. It's just how it comes down here that needs a little bit more. Yeah, it has to come all the way down. It's about there. And it gets a little stronger in here, I'd say. It kind of breaks up a bit here. Where I'm missing some of the shapes I see in there. I should probably fill those in, definitely at least this one right here. There's kind of a like a little crease, little notch in it right here. Alright, this is definitely going to be a lot stronger here. And that should sort of taper off into there. And then got sort of these three strong ridges right there. There we go. It's coming along. There we go. That's definitely rounding out the trunk and giving it more of its the volume that received curved, giving more of its form. Whereas before it was looking kind of flat. I wonder if there Yeah, I don't know, it does seem a little bit like some of the bigger gaps could be better. I'll make sure that these are strong. Then down here, it really has to kind of needs to really fade out really gradually over these wrinkles. Be careful, I don't want to erase them, and I know how you can kind of lose everything if you go to. That's pretty good. I think that's about the right degree of form. I don't know, it's a little too abrupt right here though. Pull it back over here. This seems like it goes out a little bit too much. A little too dark down there. It's a little noisier on the stream than usual, because I have the windows open. Although, I don't know the way the mic works. Most likely you probably don't hear that at all. It seems a little noisier to me though. Alright. Yeah, I think this would have been a lot easier to do larger. Well, I don't know if I'd say easier. It'd be, there's a lot of detail being ignored here. It'd be a little bit, I could probably copy everything a little bit more automatically, I should say, if I was working a larger size. Then I'd really have to track my position and not get. Okay. So that's the trunk. Oh, and we are at time for this part of the stream. So there we go. That is, we've made a lot of progress on this. Got through most of the trunk. I mean, I'll probably come back and touch it up a bit some more, but I'd say it's pretty far along. We've got the hay finished in there. and the front of the face. So now I just need to work on bringing this back into here and finishing off the rest of his head, and that'll be it. So there we are. So this is the part of the stream where I usually go right into the Rubik's Cube solve. And I'll start, whoops, it's a little too close to the camera. And we will do the Rubik's solve pretty quick, but first I thought we could look at 2 minutes 23 seconds, Calvin. That is a very wise guess. If anyone else wants a shot at the next section, I'm gonna pull up the I am working on the chat bot, land bot over here. So let's let me start this from the beginning. This is just a preview. It's not totally working, but I thought this would be. So Catlin, can you see the options on the screen? This is the chat bot that you'll be choosing from in the future if this works now. So your choice to make right now says congratulations, let's pick the next project. What kind of art would you like? So your choices are realism, cartoon, surreal, and abstract. I don't know if I may have been too ambitious putting that many options, because I don't know that I can necessarily do surreal or abstract, but do you want to choose? I'm going to go ahead and realism, okay. So realism it is. All right. Next question is what subject interests you? Oh, I forgot to do the solve. But you were the only one to guess, so I'm guessing that you win anyway. You will win anyway. I just started. That's probably why you're like, what? But we might as well simulate this anyway. You can choose something else afterward if you want. I just wanted to kind of walk through the chatbot and see if it works. Animals. Okay. So then the idea then would be that you'd be instructed once you've chosen animals. Right now, choosing animals, I think that's the end because there's anything programmed yet. But the idea would be that when you get to here and you would choose animals, that I would have a board prepared of animals. And then you would pick one of the animals here. So maybe we'll come back and do that in a minute, or you can... The only question is, I'm going to be sculpting in VR. And so the question will be, like how much I can do in the time that we have, how realistic it can be. The furrier the animal, the less, I'll be able to represent the fur when we're sculpting. I can do some fur, some indications of fur, but it's going to work the way, like imagine you're working in clay. I can sort of like scrape indications of fur into clay, but okay. That's just oh, giraffe. You like the giraffe? This guy, Cool. All right, and then the other thing I was thinking about doing, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to pull up Instagram. Some of the stuff I've been into lately is on the generative. So if you'd have chosen, we'll just look at this really briefly right now as sort of pondering how the abstract stuff could work. But I was thinking we could use inspiration for abstract type art using things like these. I was talking about maybe doing sculpting art. Like for example, here's something that this, I don't know, this may have been made generatively, or it may have been, yeah, this was probably made generatively. But I could sculpt that kind of thing and, you know, paint it. So if we're doing something abstract, I'd say we could come into a feed like this and choose art that is sort of just in as reference for it. So we're not doing that now, but this is the sort of thing I thought that we might pull up when we do that, if somebody does choose abstract. And what's the other thing I was thinking we might do? Oh, I'd mentioned taking a look at GAN-Breeder. Just wanted to show the work that I was doing on this earlier. Oh, look, I've got some likes. Oh yeah, Lovebug liked some of my stuff. I've got this sort of indoor setting thing. This I thought was really interesting. It was really different from all the other. Sometimes when you're working with GAN-Breeder, it'll create lots and lots of images that sort of look similar, and then all of a sudden it'll give you one image that you can see what it has in common with some of the underlying structure of the rest of the images, but it just does something totally different with it. So you can see how this, it looks like some kind of a device with some kind of writing on it or something, and it has these like alien tentacle legs or something going on underneath it. I really like it. So I could see using this as inspiration. So this is an example of something of what I was saying about how you could do use GAN-Breeder to give you ideas for something, and then I could go into VR and create a robot that has a very blocky body up top, and then it has not exactly these legs, because I'm interpreting these as legs. I'm looking at it and saying, oh, that's a robot, and it has these tentacle legs, but it isn't really a robot. That's me imposing information on it that I'm looking at and saying, oh yeah, I think this is a robot. So I could take this image into Medium. I could sculpt a robot based on this concept, but it's going to obviously be very different from this painting, and the artwork that would come out of it in the end would be totally different. Although I could try to match the colors and put it into this layout if I really wanted to have this image as sculpted really as a robot, but it would still come out quite different from this, and this would end up looking almost as if it was the robot doing an impressionistic painting of my robot if I did that concept. So that is that. You can see I got some likes from Joel Simon, the creator of GAN-Breeder. That's pretty cool. But that's not what I came here to show you. I was going to show you I made animals. I don't usually like to make animals in here. I like this also. This looks kind of like a giant robot wading through the ocean, and you're on a shore looking out on it. That's kind of cool. Again, that's me interpreting it this way. That's the machine, or the AI that created this, is interpreting lots of different things to try to create these forms, and it doesn't have any idea of what this means. It doesn't know how to interpret anything that it's seeing. It has no. It's like sort of a very what would you call it? Like a very like it doesn't have it doesn't understand the meaning of any of the images that it's interpreting, that it's fed its reference with, and so it's just trying to create images based on imagery, but it doesn't really have the meaning. So anyway, these are the animal ones. Actually, I didn't do this one. This one's Kermit here. I just happened to find an animal that Kermit did. I really like this though. It seems to have, this thing seems to have antlers. Let me pull it up so we can see if we can see it bigger. It doesn't get bigger. Much bigger anyway. So yeah, you have this It's a creature that seems to have sort of antlers, but has this very large eye low on it, so it almost looks like a very, I don't know, like a very furry deer of some kind, maybe. Anyway, this over here I did make. It's kind of a badger, very furry badger, bear, panda kind of thing. And this over here, this was one of those ones that I mentioned where you have lots and lots of images. If you look at the images down below, they look very different. There are a lot of like deer parts and bird parts in there, and there's some dog in there that you can see. And then all of a sudden, it did this one thing that looks, you know, very different. One thing, it's running on water or through like shallow water apparently here. It has these maybe almost like crab-like legs coming down here. It's just extremely different. When I saw this, I had to capture that one. That was definitely one of the better ones. And then we have this brightly colored baboon dog thing. And here is sort of a very furry, multi-legged sloth-like creature. But it looks like it has more than, like maybe I'm imagining filling in. It seems that there's another pair of legs here, so it's like a 6-legged animal, which is very unusual. It's very alien. And over here I have sort of a bear, very furry dog bear type creature. And this here looks to me like a sort of colorful monkey. So these are all creatures that I can show you actually. I don't know how much time do we have. I don't have that much time, so I'm going to move on. Maybe in another stream I'll show you how I made these. The approach I took to making these is very different than like these ones here, the more abstract art. Some of these are other people's I'm liking, but this series I did, these sort of painting like ones, I have a very different approach to doing those. For doing these, I actually start with one gene and add a gene to it and get the balance just right, and then do a bit of GAN breeding where you create children using the create children button. So I do a bit of just the regular GAN breeding after I've got sort of a base that I like that's based on just two. Anyway, I'll show you that another time. I need to get into the giraffe portion of this. So we're going to go ahead and save image as, save it to desktop. I'll call this giraffe. All right. Oh, we should go ahead and actually do the Rubik's Cube solve though, and see if see how close my time is to Catlin's guess. You can see here last time when Tikiwa was here and he did the guess, I got 1:03, even though he expected 43 seconds, as he always does every time, 43 seconds. So let me take a moment to look at this. I was hoping I'd get my high-speed cube by today, but I did not. So maybe this week, we'll see. All right. Okay. And go. Oops. All right, 1:17. So either I'm getting better or I just had a lucky couple of runs there. I think it's probably more luck. Oops. Okay, so into Oculus. All right. Oh, I should probably put the table down a bit because I'm having a little bit of visibility trouble with my. Oh, and you guys can't see. I'm sorry. All right. Is that better? Actually, just realized there's no reason I can't have my other display, and then I would not be so slow to realize that if you guys can't see what I'm doing. Alright, that's better. I just need to pin that there. Alright. Alright, so what I need to do is add the image. I need to choose PC, desktop, elephants there. It was too bad I did this setting last time. I was hoping to bring that up this time, but I guess I didn't save it properly because when I went to open it today, it was not there. So important reminder to always save your work. I'm not seeing the giraffe. Is anybody else seeing the giraffe? I don't see it. Alright, I'm going to have to try to save that again. Alright, maybe this time. Sorry, I'm just adjusting some of these windows here. Oops. Maybe I could just use the reference that I can see there. If I don't, well, let me just, that's kind of ways I'd rather have it right here where I can see it. There we go, the giraffe. And then you guys can see it too, which is better. Right about there is good. So I don't know how generally realistic I'll be able to get here, but I'll do my best. Let's see if there are other shapes that maybe under primitives. Oops. Oops, hit the wrong button there. Under primitives, we got some. You know, for this guy, I think I'm going to need my mirror plane on. How do I turn on mirror? There we go. There's mirror. So bring that up so we can see it. You guys see that? There's a mirror like this is indicating where it'll mirror that. I should probably move this down, and I need my. There we go. I just need the mic so I'm not hitting it quite so much. All right. Yeah, this is kind of gonna be in my way too, though. There we go. This seems kind of like one of the shapes I'm seeing here. Maybe this one. So he looks kind of. Oops, I want that to be blue. You know, I really need another angle of this guy's head, so I'm gonna find at least one more angle. Alright, let's see. I'm just going to do a search for giraffe. And I just want one where he's looking. This is actually kind of good, but I want a total side angle. I just want that angle, but I'd see if there's a better totally side angle. It's one profile. Seem to have run out of. Okay, I guess I'll just go with the first one I saw then. That one's a little too far away, but this one I guess will do. Giraffe. 4. Save. All right. Like this to move. How do I? There we go. That was over here, I think. Actually, that's not a good place for it because it's here. I'll just put it over here because it's hard to get it when it's so. All right, let's do one more. Oh, Danchisco, hey, welcome. About to be a raid up in here, I believe. Really? Welcome. Hi. Welcome to the stream. Hey, BJ White. Hi, welcome. You'll have to follow down here. That's a lot of people. Anthony Mater, Ayero, welcome. Thanks for joining. Thanks, Francesco. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah. Welcome to the stream. I'll show you what I've been working on. I'm actually setting up to stream in, or to do some VR sculpting, but I can show you what I did for most of the stream is right over. Let me see. I gotta pull this up a little bit to do it, to show that. I've got. I've been working on this elephant in white charcoal. So we just when we started, we were around, I think, about there. So I did pretty much all of that today, and then went in and reworked all of this. So been making lots of progress on this. And oh, I forgot to say. Oh, good. You like? Thanks for the raid. And sorry, I'm having trouble following all the chat. I usually have so little activity at this part of the stream as I'm winding down. Wow, this is a lot of people. Oh, I see that Lulu's message was deleted. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get the filtering under control. I just set up bots and they're really overactive. So anyway, let me show you. I have a few other white charcoal drawings that I can share. And then we'll get back into the white charcoal. But we did this owl before. Some of my friends from Kit Slam's channel will probably recognize that. Did this this horse. Kind of hard to see the whole thing. I'll pull this up. Thanks, Tiger Knot. Appreciate it. Oh, you got that for the caps. Yeah, I thought I meant to turn off that because I don't mind if people use caps. But yeah, it can be aggressive. I actually finally got Nightbot to stop. Nightbot was deleting all the links from Pretzel Rocks, so I had two bots who were always fighting in here. Hey, Kid Slam. Thanks. So you like the owl? Yeah, I'm just gonna run through them all here. Everyone's probably seen the Pine Martin, which was done for the Fauna Focus monthly thing, and then we've got this bat. That was fun. Oh, that horse. And the cat. Thanks, Francesco. Yep, and then there was this tiger, which you guys may recognize. I did this as a co-stream when Kitslam actually did this tiger as a in color, and his actually was much more proportional. I kind of flattened it out, kind of stylized it. So yeah, that is the past work. So I better get going on this let's see, I need to make that a little bit smaller so I can see your guys' comments a little bit better. Normally I have just a couple of comments at a time, but I hadn't decided zoomed up. All right. So how are you guys doing? Did you have a lot of fun? What were you working on? Wait, I'm sorry. Was it Kitslam that raided? It must have been. I can't believe I even missed that. Who the raid was. I saw that Francesco warned me we were about to raid. Yeah, this is obviously a Kitslam raid. Of course, these are all my Kitslam friends. So thanks for the raid, Kitslam. Are you still? You couldn't still be working on the same dog, are you? It was looked so finished like 2 streams ago. Let's see, I gotta move the oops. My thing is supposed to actually have the pull it up here so I can see a little bit better. Oh, you're doing another dog painting. I see. I see. I wish I could have seen that then. Actually, I should just, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it up really quick. I like to always review and see what is going on the incoming team stream, although you guys all saw it, so I guess it'd be more for my benefit with it. But if anyone wants to actually share a highlight from Kitsam's channel, I could pull that up. If anyone has oops, I have the, oh my gosh, was I in this other view the whole time with, yeah, I was. That happens sometimes. Yeah, it was working on a boxer painting for my sis now. Oh, cool. Yeah, so if somebody has a good KitSlam clip, you can paste that and I'll pull it up. I think I've got the bot allowing that kind of thing now. This reference is a little too let's see. Reference is a little too in front of me. I need to move it aside a little bit so I can kind of Meep 513 Andrew. Yeah, it was working out there. That's the same. Oh, let's see. I think Orange Monkey Art or someone had a good clip. They might be gone now. Ah. Well, maybe I'll check it out afterward. Then I'll go maybe find it myself. Let's see. So, oops, that is not the right color for doing this in. I'm gonna get sort of nice. Something where you can kind of see the form pretty well. KitSlam, do you have the I'm a Painter clip? Oh, Lulu's got a clip, so I'll pull that up. All right. Going to 3. There it is. Okay. So this is the clip. Oh, I gotta silence. Hold on, before the clip plays, pause it because I gotta pause the music. Pause the music. All right, this is the one. All right.
Whoa, would you introduce yourself that way for each viewer, please? Which way? My name is KitSlam, and I like to paint. I'm a painter. Like that one, probably. I'm a painter. It's so unsophisticated. What do you do for a living? I'm a painter. I paint things. I enjoy a good painter. This is good.
So this is the dog I remember. So you've started a new one since then?
I'm tall. I'm a painter. That's funny. Hello, I'm tall. I'm a painter. There's like no correlation. Zero correlation.
There's no correlation between being tall and being a painter?
Viewer, please.
I think isn't the correlation that, you know, you can get up and you can paint the top part of the canvas, right? Okay, so that's funny. You guys are funny. This new catchphrase. Very cool. KitSlam knows how to keep the stream fun. Never any dead air on KitSlam's channel, which reminds me I just silenced my my tunes. Let's see. Yeah, next one is a cutie boxer. Yeah, we always have a good time. Yeah, definitely. That is definitely KitSlam's stream in a nutshell. Definitely a good time. I have lost one of my controllers. Alright, excuse me while I search the floor for the controller. Oh, there it is. Found it. Okay. Okay. Are you able to see? Yeah, you guys can see what I can see. Meep Andrew. SRO song request. Sorry, Meep Andrew. I don't actually have the bot set up for song requests. My apologies. I try to keep the stream with the audio intact for later, so I haven't figured out how to do song requests that work with that. Is that? Oh, there's another clip. Real Square Shark Rule 5. What is that? I found another good clip if we still want those. Okay, it's cool. Sure, yeah. We can do one more clip or not. Let's see. Back here.
Lol, would you introduce yourself that way for each viewer, please?
Oh wait, that's the painter clip. That's one we just watched. Is it? Oh, this is the one. Okay. Thanks, Dancesco.
So the 3 emotes we got currently.
You guys hear that okay?
1, 2, and 3. So it's hard to be sad though, eh? How does one get sad?
So that's the new dog. It looks really good.
We'll see if this is any good. So the 3 emotes.
Nice.
This was 1.
That's got some method acting going on KitSlam's channel.
So it's hard to be sad though, eh? How does one get sad? Wait, I need to get sad.
Does the clip play twice, or did you do that twice? It's quiet. Oh, you can't quite hear it. I'm sorry. I must have my. No, I have my audio all the way up there. Sorry, I haven't got my levels figured out for the. Maybe I had it all down low. Major method. Oh, it auto repeats. I see. Okay. All right, back into this. I have to remember to put the stream back into medium mode when I go back in here. Otherwise, you guys get to watch me be in VR while I don't know that you guys are not in VR with me, which can be kind of funny for like the first few minutes. It's entertaining at first, and then it's like, okay, come on, seriously. Here, I'm gonna go ahead and use this, and then I'm just gonna oops, that's not what I wanted to do that. I'm gonna try using the move tool to form this more. Been wanting to rely on the move tool a fair amount more. It's alright, just letting you know. Yeah, I didn't quite have the sound figured out. So let's see. Jack of all trades. He can act, paint, and he's tall. Yeah. Alright, this is going to need some more resolution, that's for sure. Resolution. Where do I find the resolution? It is here. Increase res. 3 times is the charm. With that. And eat snap peas, perhaps. And eat snap peas. Are you eating snap peas? Yeah, fruit leathers is what I was gonna say. There's more fruit leathers. I think this should be much narrower. Right? I don't know. This mouth looks like it would be. Kind of come into a point there, and then he's got to have this nose. Oops. Let's see, did I want that? That's one thing that's nice about digital. You can go back and forth. I'm sorry, I'm missing the chat. Let's see. Boy, I miss a lot. Okay. Wait, not that much. I went back too far. Oh, I think the music stopped. You know, I think it did. Let me fix that. Sorry. Thank you. Kitsan's a master of multitasking. A true Canadian treat. Oh, you're talking about the fruit leathers still? Or the snap peas? Excited for this 3D VR modeling. It'll be my first time seeing it done. Sculpting in VR looks difficult. I don't want to interrupt what you're doing, but could you eventually show something you've sculpted previously? Oh yeah, actually that is a great idea. Thanks. Yes, I agree. Truly is. Are there still 10 cents? I can't remember now. They're actually like 40 cents now. Yikers. Okay. So what I need to do is save the setup I've done here, which is the mistake I made yesterday. Unfortunately, I can't show you what I made last time because I forgot to save it. And then it crashed or something. So I'm gonna save this. Okay, and so previous works. Go ahead and load. So the last thing that I did that I have saved, I want to do some more scenery. So this time we're actually doing an animal because that was Caitlin's pick because she won the Rubik's solve. But I set up this scene. It's based on this photo, so I just had one photo for the reference of this, and it's a cave. I believe we're inside the cave, looking out through the hole. But I only did what I could see in the image. So I'm trying to simulate water down here. See, some things work better than others. The leaves, I'm really happy with what you can do with leaves, and I'm combining painting with sculpting there. Thanks, Francesco. So that's inflation, but still worth it. Okay, so what else do I got? Before that, I was still doing scene settings. I'll go ahead and pull up this one. This was actually when I was working with one image for reference. It was this cherry blossom scene. So I sort of set up the road and the strip. You can see it's taking a moment to load here. And I had a problem with the color. I couldn't quite get the pink that I wanted for that. Later on, I figured out why that didn't work. Oh boy! So you can see all these little cherry blossoms are taking a ton of memory. It takes a long time to load, but once it loads, it's pretty performant. Let's see if I can keep up on the conversation. So wow, Subcreation. Whoa, that's cool. Yeah, I love that. Thanks. Yeah, so this The idea was to set it up and then get a picture of it inside it like this, which I did. Unfortunately, these cherry blossoms turned out orange, and I figured out later on why that was. I actually had color in the cherry blossoms that messed it up. And I've got like a little bit of a fence going on there. So this is kind of a work in progress, but that's where that's at. And you can see I have kind of like a fake sky in here. Wanted there to be a bit of a gradient to it, so that's why I didn't just use the background. Anyway, so that's that. Let's see what else I got. Those are the two settings I did. Let's see, I'm trying to remember what else. So this actually is my emote. So those are some of the sketches I did beforehand. And then the emote turned out like this, and it's all right. I'm not super thrilled with it. It looks a little bit more like claymation-like, and I didn't like making him smile sort of an afterthought. So I wanted this to look more cartoony and not to have such, I don't know. I mean, obviously it is stylized, but I was hoping to get to look more like that. Oh, there's more comments. Ooh, love that. Anyways, I'd love to keep watching, but I have school tomorrow. Thanks, Francesco. Have a great night. Thanks for dropping in and get some rest for tomorrow. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Yarrow. And yeah, I just realized you guys are watching me stare off into space every time I read my comments. I should have positioned this, and I need to position that where I can actually see it a little bit better. There we go. That way you guys will be able to see the art while I'm talking. So yeah, so that's actually my emote, and yeah, I mean it's terrible, but I would like to make it a little simpler and have it not look quite so much like clay. Have it look a little bit sharper. Yeah, thanks, Kitslam. I am planning on reworking it a bit when I get a chance, but right now I don't think I have any subscribers, so there's no rush on that. Let's see. You guys saw when I did this. I don't know if you guys saw the. I think you probably saw part of the monster project. This was the final monster. Actually, he had thumbs at the end, so I seem to have lost some work on him. That's too bad. Oh yeah, I did, because there was actually, it said his name up above, so I've lost that. I too have to head to wind down for the evening Subcreation. Enjoy the stream, everyone. Great, thanks for dropping in. I mean, thanks so much for the raid, Kitslam. It's awesome that you were able to do that. I really appreciate it. It's great having people drop in. And hope you get some rest and you're well rested for your class tomorrow. I know how it is when you raid. You're like excited to raid, and then you're like, oh, I've really got to sleep. So yeah, no worries. All right. So let's see. What's the most bang for the buck? I'll probably only open one more up. I'll open up this this fly. So this is the fly. It was kind of cool that I was able to use the metal, and I kind of painted him. Well, I mean, I didn't kind of paint him. I definitely painted him, so that there's more yellow and green up here, and then as you go down, it's blue. So it gives the impression of iridescence, even though if it was iridescent, it would change as your angle changed, and it doesn't actually do that. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Nightbot. What is Nightbot saying? What an interesting hypothesis. Stop spamming symbols. Oh, I am sorry about that. Chatbot has been pretty well behaved most of the night, but yeah, he's kind of. Thanks Yarrow. is it pronounced Oyaro, or is that just Yaro with decoration? I think that's decoration on the outsides. So yeah, that's the fly, and now we can go back to the, oops, we can go back to the giraffe that we'd started. So yeah, there's, see that, certainly if we go in, Yaro with some decoration, yeah. Looking at it from an angle, it kind of tapers down there like that. Yeah, so if Catlin is still here, Catlin chose this. It might be a little late for Catlin. I usually try to end the stream before it gets too late, but if I get a raid. And also I was super late starting this because I was showing some other work for a little bit. Not to you guys before you guys showed up. I was looking at going over some of the GAN breeding work I've done. Okay, so there's actually like a notch that kind of comes up here. It seems like. I don't know if that's quite the way that it works, but yeah, he has that notch. Oh yeah, so Catlin is here. Catlin chose the topic for tonight, or the she chose both the style and the subject. So we created a chatbot last week that you could. It's not finished yet. We're still sort of building it and figuring out, but we walked through it together online, where it basically asks you a series of questions when you win. So there's a competition to see if you can guess how long it'll take me to solve a Rubik's Cube. And if we don't have a lot of people on, which sometimes is the case, then it's really easy to win. If you're the only person who guesses, you definitely win. Oh, did I get a... Oh, thanks Cloud's Rainbow. Or Cloud9, that's Cloud9's Rainbow. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to Subcreation. Can be kind of confusing sometimes. I refer to. Oh yes, Streamlabs is thinking. I got Streamlabs set up, so we got two bots now. No, 3 bots on the stream, and they're fighting less this week than they were last week. I'm gonna set the eyes in. Oh gosh, I'm in the middle of a move and went to put my nail file back on the shelf next to me. I took down yesterday. The shelf next to me that I took down yesterday and dropped it. When I start streaming on Twitch, let's see, it's been 4 or 5 months now, I think. I think I'm not totally sure now. I'm losing track. I think I started in the beginning of December. I think it was the beginning of December. So that'd make what? Yeah, 6 months. So I was way off. Yeah, is the nail file all right? Oh, that's what you said. It didn't ship. Yeah. Oh, thanks for the follow, Yarrow. It's great to see. We may see you back in the future. Yeah, so what was I explaining? I was saying that so Catlin picked from a series of options. The first option is to choose the style of the art, whether it would be realistic or if it's going to be do I not have it set up to tell the stream uptime? Does the uptime tell how long I've been streaming today, or just how long? I'll have to set up that command. Uptime would tell how long I've been streaming, right? Just today, I think. I can tell you actually. I streamed since 8 o'clock, so it's been 2.5 hours. Yeah, usually it's how long today, so that's what. Okay, let's see if that is that looking right there. I don't know. This seems a little. What do you guys think? Does that seem like that's the? Yeah, there's like a little bit of a jaw there, so that's what I'm trying to keep, but it doesn't totally seem like a natural jaw. And that one appears to have more of a cheek, right? I guess it's just this in here a little bit comes out. So this tool I'm using, the Move tool, is actually relatively new to the tool. It wasn't in the first version, so I got used to doing a lot of sculpting without it. But now that I have it, this is definitely the best, the most powerful tool. All right. It seems like this could be a little bit longer though. Yeah, it seems like that's more in proportion. Yeah. So I guess now I need to do these things. I wonder if I could just. I might need to actually stamp them, but I could. Might be able to do them just like this. Nah, I don't know. They might need a little more detail than that. This is. Catlin did choose realism, so I should probably give a little more care to get the shapes right and not simplify too much. This needs to be smaller. Oh, you know what? They kind of go back. Let's have them go kind of the wrong direction. So interesting, wherever they are. I don't know of any other animals that have that kind of a little nodules they have on the tops of their heads or not. Let's see. Not any other creatures that have that kind of a thing, but just the giraffes. Does that seem like it's the right proportion? Let's see. I'm trying to measure it out with my hand right there. It's hard when I can't see my hand. I'll have to use this. That is from there to there, then from there to there. Yeah, it seems like it's about right. It is a little awkward in shape. I'm trying to move tool a little bit. The move tool also does a bit of smoothing, so their little head nums are neat to touch if a zoo offers feeding, etc. near you. Huh. Yeah, they look like they're fuzzy. I wonder, do they have bones in them or cartilage? They're interesting. There we go. I think that's a little bit better with it pointing more straight back. It just seems a little out of proportion though, because like if the distance from his nose to his eyes are that, well, let's see, different distance from his eyes to the nobule is that, so it'd be similarly from there to there. Yeah, I think it needs to come down just a tad. Not a big fan of zoos, but it's neat to see such large creatures in the flesh. Yeah, it is. I'm not sure what region you're in, because I know some zoos can be pretty unpleasant for the animals, but like I'm in the Northwest in Seattle, so our zoo up here is pretty much like all outdoors, all areas that are like pretty nice for animals. They're cared for pretty well. They're super fuzzy. Oh, in California, so San Diego Zoo is pretty much the same as like our Woodland Park Zoo up here. Pretty nice out and mostly outdoors. Right, I would assume cartilage, since I've never seen a skull have one to my knowledge. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like I would remember if they had such unique skulls. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it must be cartilage. There's like a little bit more of this ridge needs to come up just a bit. I think it comes up all the way to that. It intersects with that, I think. Oops. You can actually, one thing that's neat about this tool is you can actually grab from the inside and push out. So I mean, it's pretty versatile. I need to, there we go. That's pretty cool that it can do it like that. I'm always amazed by this tool. I mean, by this software. We surprisingly had a polar bear for almost 20 years until last year. Now we have black bears. We do have a snow leopard that had cubs last year though, which was a treat. Favorite animal. At the, are you talking about the San Diego Zoo? I actually went to it a few years ago. It was really nice. I was there when they had the polar bears. I saw the polar bears there. I feel bad for the leopard, but her babies perked her up. I don't remember if I saw the polar bear or the leopard though. Oh, the San Francisco Zoo. Okay, so that's different than the one I went to. Then they may still have. They definitely had a polar bear at the San Diego Zoo. Okay. Now I need to get this nose. One thing that's amazing about this tool is I can just go, this app is I can go in super close for fine detail work. So like I can see that this nose is actually kind of the angle, and then we have these coming up around the outside. There we go. I wonder if I could kind of grab all the edges and pull them out. Yeah, but that doesn't really work. Okay, this might be a job for the inflate tool. The inflate tool, you can just kind of... Oh, that's not what I want to do. I think I just need to turn the strength of it down. No, I'm just smoothing it. That's the tricky thing about inflate tools. Sometimes it doesn't quite do what I expect all the time. Okay, so forget that. What I need to do, sometimes that's the thing about these tools, sometimes is you forget which ones are the right ones to use at the right times. And really, clay is actually really best for this. I mean, I could just take this and do that. That's probably the simplest thing. Yeah, actually, that's probably the best thing to do. The alternative, though, is to actually take like a horn. Let's see, under primitive, no, under organics. So this horn right here is way more versatile than you would think you can do. I've seen some sculptors do like very realistic busts where they pretty much just use positives and negatives of this horn to do almost everything. Like they got the basic shape in, like I did here. I don't know though. This is not seeming that natural to me at the moment. So I'll make sure I'm on the, okay. I feel like I missed something about the shape here. It's like it kind of wraps. But the key is to remember to use things in conjunction with the move tool, right? So probably use the find myself sometimes even using the move tool, even though it seems like the smoothing that happens is kind of a side effect of it. I sometimes use it almost intentionally to do sort of more controlled smoothing, because the smoothing seems to kind of melt clay away a little bit when you use the smooth tool. Let's see, is that right? I feel like maybe down a little bit. That's all right. There's a bit of a curve to it I'm missing, to be honest. I'm not sure what it is. There's kind of a... There we go. I think that's a little better anyway. It's not perfect. It's a little better. It does need a little bit more clay in here. You see, that was the smooth tool, and it does kind of melts clay away, whereas this kind of like repositions and then smooths. So it kind of like keeps some of it in a way that the smooth tool doesn't so much. It still doesn't seem quite right. I guess the shape inside is not quite right. I'm getting too hot up, right? Because one thing is I'm trying to be realistic, but at the same time I'm trying to be pragmatic for the time I have for the project. Right, so I can only be as realistic as I can be, right? All the tools are so neat. Yeah, I just love this program. It is so awesome. I'd say for me, this was when I saw a video of how this worked. That was what sold me on Oculus, and it's the app I use more than anything else. There are a few games I really like. I love Star Trek Bridge Crew. If you're into Star Trek at all, Star Trek Bridge Crew it's like the only game you need. There are some other fun games though too. From Other Suns is fun. But I'd say a Robo Recall is fun too. I think it's the top of the nostrils that are less upraised, but sides are good. Right. Yeah. Okay. Maybe if I kind of twist them to be more. It's not perfect, but that is a big improvement. Thanks for the tip, Yara. That's one thing I like about doing art on stream is getting tips like that. It's like sometimes you just stop seeing things straight, you know. But yeah, of course, when I got set up with this, it was pretty painful price-wise to get set up with, because you got to get a streaming capable PC. If you didn't have that already, it's pretty wild. But now I hear, although I haven't used it, so I can't necessarily recommend it, which is why it's not listed in. I have Oculus and everything listed in the. Let's see, is that? No, that is totally not right. So anyway, I have Oculus. I have the Rift Oculus that I have, which is no longer sold by Oculus. Listed down below in the panels, but the new one is Oculus. What's it called? Oculus. I forget the name of it. Yeah, thanks. But the thing about the new one is that I've heard that the sensor tracking for the hands isn't as good, because the sensors are on the in the setup I have right now. There are multiple sensors in this room, and if anybody walks in front of them, I can lose tracking. But with the new one, the tracking is just built into the headset, which sounds really nice. It makes the setup easier, but I've heard some people said that it's not such a great upgrade, because you end up losing tracking whenever your hands aren't right in front of your face. Then the controllers aren't being positioned properly. It's like right now I can like look up, look around, and my hands could be working over here. I need the move tool really to fix that, of course. Okay. Back to clay. But anyway, the thing though that's nice though about the new Oculus is that you don't have to need a sharper edge here than that. With the new Oculus, you don't have to buy the PC. So the PC was the most expensive part of the setup, finding one that has the ability to run it. But apparently the new one, works. Oh yeah, that works pretty good. Worked pretty good. Anyway, the new one has the whole the computer and everything is built right into it. So you don't have to, so it really is just a cost of the headset. But I don't know if I'd want that, because I don't know how I would stream, if I'd be able to stream from it. But if you just wanted to get started using the Oculus Medium, which is created by Oculus, it might work. I don't know. I heard that it was tracking wasn't as good. That's better. That's all right. It's pretty good. All right, so now I just need ears on this guy. Ears could be complicated. What ears? And I suppose it's not a giraffe without a neck. Let's see. Ears, ears, ears. Let's see. I like how you can zoom right in there. Yeah, I know. That is the best part. Because you don't really have the ability to scale in analog. Let's see. Oh, have I lost? I seem to have lost my. Oh, there it is. It's over there. You guys can't see, but I have another monitor right there. Okay. Thinking. No, not at all. Okay. I just need to take this and pull it out. Yeah, the zooming is just awesome. This really is an amazing tool. I feel fortunate to have been born during a time when not only like having technology, but it advanced into this stage where you can really use it in a natural way. Art tools have been pretty limited on PCs compared to this. I work as a designer during the day, and I've drawn on computers since I first started using them in the 90s. And using like a Wacom tablet kind of helped with that a bit, but nothing really was like this where you just had it right in your hands, you know? I'm not gonna worry about getting it totally exact because some of this I don't want to make it, it's not super high res, and I think I'm gonna do some of these details like inside the ear probably painted. Yeah, I'd say this is probably one of the biggest changes in biggest steps in being able to work naturally with a computer for art. The next biggest thing, which I talked about on the stream quite a bit, that I'm very excited about, is GANs, generative adversarial networks. That was what we were looking at, some of my GAN work in GAN Breeder, art generated in GAN Breeder. We were looking at that before we got into this tonight. Now I look at it from there. Okay, so from the front, does that work? I'm kind of copying those there. Actually, his ears are kind of turned up more. Yeah, so let's get there. Flatten it a bit there. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I got distracted. I was explaining what the so generative adversarial networks. I don't know if you've heard about them. They kind of made the news a bit because people were making there was a site called This Person Does Not Exist that sort of popularized them somewhat, and then also there's some like deep learning. I think the deep learning stuff that Google was doing used. Actually, now I'm not saying I'm not sure that's true. If they all did, but the thing that's so cool about them. Let's see, does this have the right shape? Is they basically have computers that are, these networks can create photorealistic imagery, which you can kind of direct. So it's a bit like being an art director, working with computers kind of at your command, and they're basically like it's not something about right. Not quite right. Well, I need to get the neck. The neck will sort of attach here, I think. Anyway, a lot of artists that I've talked to don't seem to like it when they see what it does, partly because you feel like, well, what is art then? And if the computer is doing it, you know. But I'm actually really excited about it because I love drawing and rendering realistically, but if a computer could do it, if I could have a computer work for me and do the heavy lifting, I'd rather spend my time trying to figure out, like what my vision is exactly, Yeah, I've seen This Person Does Not Exist stuff. It's super amazing. Yeah. Well, if you get a chance, go and check out ganbreeder.com. No, it's not .com. That'll take you to a spam site. It's ganbreeder.app, A-P-P. I just love that site. Okay, I just need to do a neck. And boy, that neck though, there's so much going on in that neck. It's not just like, how will I do it? I think maybe a combination of segments like this, maybe. doesn't seem right. How am I gonna do it? Ooh, that's better. It's not super realistic, but it'll work. I'm not going to be doing like really amazing giraffe anatomy in my first go, but I think I can. It does seem to have kind of more of a another segment that happens here. Let's see. Yeah. Alright, now's the time I'd say for the move tool actually. Yes. But yeah, learn from last time streaming, be sure that I actually save. Save right now. Save. No, didn't know I'd take that one. Okay, so haha, that sucked. Yeah, oh, losing the work after getting this far. Yeah, well, last week I did a whole scenery thing and I lost it. So that was a bummer. I actually used Google Earth for the reference. We did a scene that Tikiwa picked, which was it was a beach in Greece. Alright, I'd say that's pretty good. Good enough for government work. Let me go ahead and say, actually, I think that this maybe should pull out a bit here. Feels like it should get a little bit more substantial as it goes down, right? I mean, that's what's happening there, I think. It gets thicker, I think. I don't know. To me, it seems like it kind of twists a bit when I look at that one. So it's less simple and straight. Yeah, that was the worst. Okay, so save. Alright, so Catlin, hope you liked that. I'm saving it now and we can continue it next week if you want it to be painted. I'm guessing you'll probably win the... there's more detail that could happen around the eyes, of course, but I think it makes more sense to tackle some of that when I'm painting it. Like, actually, these eyes, now I think about it, I'll probably want to clear out and use... I want more reflective eyes in there. So I'll probably end up clearing those out. But for now, I just kind of want to get the form figured out. So that's fun. That was a good pick for tonight. Caitlin's really good at picking the subjects. Okay, so I think since I mentioned it, I'm just gonna pull up. I'm gonna pull up GAN breeder again. Oh, actually, I have it here already. So these were the animals that I was working on, and what I was talking about was how. So there are a lot of different ways you could use GAN breeder. You could use it to actually make finished art. There's a site where you can print a lot of these up, and that's fine if you wanted to just use it like that, because it makes some pretty amazing looking finished stuff. But I was thinking more of using it. I mean, a lot of the stuff I'm happy with it as it is, but I was thinking of using it more. I got all these indentations on my head from the headset, but you could use it conceptually to come up with the ideas for works like this. When I see this, it looks like it. Now it's interpreting it, right? Like I look at this and I say, okay, this looks like, to me, it looks like water. Like you're looking over water. Maybe this is a beach up front, or maybe it's just another wave. But basically, you're looking along the surface of a wave of like an ocean, and there's like a giant robot back there. This is just me interpreting this image, though. The network that generated this had no idea that I would think of this as robot. It just has a lot of inputs of all these images, these huge libraries of images, and then it sort of tries to make sense of basically it's taking what do you call it, noise that's generated by like a Perlin noise function or something. It just gives it, it's almost like essentially looking at clouds and trying to make sense of it. So it's looking at noise that gives it certain forms like clouds that it then sort of is finding shapes in it that it thinks are similar to it's like it's as if it's finding, oh, actually, nothing about it. This, if I look at other graphics, that might be, no, it's a combination of like figures and so anyway, there's a bunch of different images. It has seeds, and the seeds are basically, or not seeds, genes. The genes are these massive image sets that it is trained it to draw certain types of objects. And so what it's doing is it's looking at the clouds, and it's looking at the seeds it has, and it's trying to interpret the clouds to match the image sets that it's been given. So that's these. I was creating these by actually starting intentionally with a couple of genes to create a base that I liked, and then I could build it up to create, like I was intentionally trying to make alien-looking animals. And so you can kind of steer it a bit with the breeding, but you can also like sort of establish, essentially a core gene that you build on. But in the case of this one, I had a pretty complex gene set, and it just happened to create this really random, bizarre-looking sort of insect slash. This thing like looks a little bit like a cross between like a dog, a deer, and a crab or something. So it can be kind of creepy, and this thing is bordering. This one also is almost bordering on the creepy, but that's why I've actually steered clear of creating. I almost never create people. I do make people if I can make figures that seem to be looking away. I like making scenes. Like some of my favorite things to make are scenes that look like a crowded room. If you have, this one doesn't have what look like people in it, but I have made some where, like, if you just have the right lighting, like this, I see sort of what look like the backs of heads and people sitting around a table. This one has a lot of figures and what appear to be the backs of heads, but because there are no faces in it, it looks way more appropriate. Their faces, it just does the worst faces. But yeah, so anyway, that's this. My idea was to use this to create like this one, for example, looks to me kind of like a robot that has like a very square, blocky body or head, and then extending down from it, it has these sort of tentacle like legs going off of it. So that's that. In fact, let's see. I think maybe I'll show you really quick how I do the base thing. So when you go to select a gene, you can go into here, and you can see whenever it does people, gosh, they look so creepy. And this actually has people in it, so you have to kind of limit it. But I start with the boa, the feathery boa, and then add to it animals that it does better include like dogs. So I'm going to go ahead and add the golden retriever to this one, and we're going to go ahead and create an image from these. So you can see it mostly looks like a golden retriever. This one's starting to look more like the, it looks a little bit more of the human features in it, which is disturbing. But you see, because I've created a base now that has a very, established, essentially it's a face of a dog. It's a very fluffy dog. And then what you can do is just you generate variations, and so these are taking little bits of other seeds. If you want to have very different ones, you go up to here. If you want to try and stay within the zone of this, you take that there. So yeah, this is ganbreeder.app. In fact, I'll paste this to the stream so you can come check it out. Human-faced pupper is super creepy. I know it is. They can get really creepy. But so part of the work is filtering out anything that doesn't look right, and tuning in on the things that look good. So like this one over here on the left is looking a little bit better. So I'm gonna. So when you pick one, you pivot to it, so you can create children from one image. So far, I haven't actually created anything. I'm just navigating. So this one's a little bit better. So I'm gonna go with that one. I like that one a little bit better. I'm gonna pick up a little bit difference, but every time I'm creating children from it, it's just making variations. So you see things are changing, like the background is changing. This one has much bigger ears and appears to have legs. I'm gonna go with that. That's actually a nice switch. And the way it's doing it is if you go into genes, let's see. So this image, let's see, make child, is based on having just the right combination of these two images. The human fave ones, I like the kids of these more. Yeah, so so that's what. So you have a certain amount of control just by telling it to make variations. I thought it was adding genes to it, but whenever you choose, like when I choose this one, there you go, and this one that's outdoors. So as you choose, so when you're choosing variations, I think it's just changing how much it's using of each gene set to see what kind of variation you can get, and that's how much you get between the similar and different. But then when you go into edit genes, you'll see now it's added. We had only chosen 2 gene sets. There's feather boa and gold retriever were there, but it's added a bunch of these now. They've added tailed frog, Egyptian cat, and apron. And if I wanted to, I could come in here to add another one. So say I want to add another animal. Let's add, say, a bear. We'll add bear to it. And we say make child. And you can see now it's just got a slight bit more of a bear's like mane, or like the fullness of the bear's head, and the ears are looking, the ears have gone from being floppy down the side to being slightly indicative of a bear. So it's pretty cool, the control you get over it. And Anyway, so that's essentially it. And then you can get really, oh, the other thing you can do is crossbreed. So I can take the image I have and choose to select an image to mix it with. And you can mix it with something like, if I mix it with this thing, it'd be interesting to see. Because they're very similar, so you can see all the variations I get from here into there. And I can choose one that's right around the middle. And now you can see I have something that's actually quite a bit different. But you get a little bit more control by doing the crossbreeding, because if I wanted to, I can choose anywhere along that spectrum. And now I make it. Once you do these crossbreedings, that's when it gets pretty interesting, when you start doing a lot of variation, because there's more genes to tweak. Oh, I see I've missed a... Oh, this is super awesome. I'll definitely check it out. Yeah, did I paste the link? I was going to, I think, and then I forgot. Or did I? I think I did forget. Let me... There we go. So a lot of people, they see this and they think, like in the case of this, obviously I'm trying to make something very intentionally, so you can see how it's making something more realistic. But the effect, here, I'm going to do another crossbreed. The effect that you end up getting is more, it's realistic or surrealistic with the approach that I'm doing here. But a lot of times when people play with it and see the kinds of things different people do, the people are currently doing, I mean, people tend to see this as being more of a abstract art tool, which, let's see. Anyway, this can also be a very meditative thing to do as you go to do it. You get, as you work on it, you get pretty here, I'll go ahead and save that one since I've gone that far. Anyway, if I go to the profile, you can see that there's more abstract types of things that you can create with it. And so I was thinking there would be a good source of inspiration for creating more abstract art. I really like the surreal and almost sci-fi stuff here. Like here you have what looks like some kind of floating ship of some kind. Over here you definitely have like a ship that's taking off, floating above water. And the lighting is really cool. Yeah, it's just, I really like the indoor scenes like this. I really like the lighting in the indoor scenes like this. And so anyway, what I'm saying isn't that you would create this and say, okay, this is done necessarily. Sometimes you might. But what I'm thinking is create images like this and then go and find realistic photos of similar settings, and then take those settings and use those or those references, multiple references, and use those as inputs to create one new piece of art that is, you know, maybe taking aspects of like either the color and the light or the subject that you see in these images, but then combining them with other more realistic elements. And so you create a new work of art that is sort of a collaboration with the computer, but is not just the computer doing the work, where it's really you're using it more as a way to sort of spur ideas and come up with different things that you can do. But you're not necessarily you're not just handing the work over to the computer, and you're not just like, if you do just work with the computer, I think of it as being, like I was saying before, like being an art director that is essentially telling, you know, it's like, I feel like when I pull up an image, like when I take this one and I use the make children button, it's like I'm saying, it's as if I have the computer working for me, this team of artists who do these great images, and I'm saying, you know, based, like, I like this, give me 3 more like it. and it goes and it makes 3 more like it. And I say, okay, 3 more like it. And it's like I have a team of them going away, making art, coming back to me in a second, just like that. And I can look at it and say, there's a certain amount of variation here. But none of these are actually really doing that much for me. So I might look at this and say, actually, I just want like this, but more variation. Try other things. And so it goes off and it creates more variation. And then I might see something like this one I actually like quite a bit more. So I could choose this one and I tell it, okay, more like this one, but now give me more variations that are more like this one. So I feel like kind of like I'm an art director. They're coming to me with art, with their attempts based on the inputs I've given them. I've given them a bunch of reference and said, hey, create art like these. And it goes off and it tries to create art to my liking. And I'm telling it, yes, more like this, less like that. So there's a certain amount of navigating to it. You don't really have fine-tuned control. The thing that's awesome, actually, what I was trying to say earlier when I was talking about Medium and the era that we're going into with the new capabilities of art with computers. This is just the beginning of it. And this is a very random tool that I like. It's a little bit like a Rorschach test, that when you look at it, you kind of see like, oh, I kind of think I see like this might be like a window, or maybe this is a machine and that's like a screen. So part of the work, the interplay between you and the computer, is the same way. It's looking at clouds and trying to find images in the clouds. You're looking at the images it comes up with. It comes up with things that sometimes are very nonsensical, and you try to make sense of them. And that is where like the random connections that you make is where I feel that a lot of the art comes in. A lot of the vision comes in. It's a little bit like I feel when I do it, it can be very meditative, and I get into like almost like a trance-like state when I'm doing it. So much so that I have to kind of limit my use to it, my use of it. It can be overly stimulating. It's like waking dreaming in a way. You're like walking through this sort of waking dream that the computer's making for you. And in fact, the activity, like when I'm talking about the whole thing of like finding images in clouds that the computer is doing and then we're doing of their images, is very similar to, if you think about how REM sleep works. When your brain is firing, there's like these rapid random firings that happen in your brain in the neocortex, in the very back of your brain. It fires off these random signals, and then your brain, your dreams are when your conscious mind is trying to make sense of the nonsense that is happening from these random firings. And so this is a very similar thing. It's just that you're doing it externally through images. But anyway, that's that. So actually, I have one other thing, a plug, if there's a chance that you want to drop in. On Wednesday, I have a stream. At the end of the stream, I do what's called, I call it a GAN journal. It's basically, oops, I'm in somebody else's, meant to pull up my own channel over here. I call this GAN journal. It's basically a collection of art that is created in GAN Breeder, but then there's a bit of a story that goes along with it, so that essentially I'm making up a story that sort of explains what's happening in these pictures somewhat. And so there's this character who's on this big adventure. He's actually kind of a unreliable narrator. He's with some compatriots that he seems to really dislike, and they've lost all of their supplies and are he's yearning for civilization, but they're still trying to accomplish the adventure that they are on. So anyway, let me share that out. Thanks. Yeah, this is I've invited you to the Discord if you want to join the Discord. Initially, I was getting this started since I had the idea, and I have about 8 episodes planned. I'll read them at the end of each channel, but you can just read them anytime you want here. Or not each channel, each week. On Wednesday, I read the new installment. So if you want to check it out, this is supposed to be collaborative. So eventually, it'll be something where anyone can jump in and do an episode. The idea to do this basically is very much built on Orange Monkey's Stories of Brian. If you've heard the Adventures of Brian on Kitslam's channel, he does something very similar to this. But this is, I'm changing the format a little bit, and of course the idea is that it's illustrated. So yeah, everyone's welcome to join that and check that out if you like. And you'd be welcome to contribute to it. We were also looking at generative art earlier too. But yeah, lots of cool things on here. But it's time now. I'm up well past my bedtime, so I need to raid. Does anyone have a good recommendation for a raid right now? I see we have Leah Rose Art. I raid her sometimes, and then we have Auroral Games. So if anyone has a preference, Auroral Games is she's a streamer of she works in Unreal. She's making video games, so she's building levels. So that's always fun. And then Leah Rose is she does art, outdoor art. Let's see, she's still up. Sometimes oh yeah, she is. Yeah, let's go ahead and do. Oops, sorry. All right. So if no one has, oops. Just want to make sure. Sometimes, oh, she is gone and she's hosting Bob Ross. So looks like the choice left is Auroral Games. All right, cool. Why am I not getting the ability to scroll over to my control? Let's see, I'll try. Oh, I see, because I'm on my page and not in my dashboard. Okay, so here we are. Pull up Rural Games. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Thanks for following along for the raid, for following along to join my raid, and for following along now as we raid. We're going to raid Rural Games. She's an amazing artist doing some really cool work. It's a lot of fun seeing what she does. So I hope you'll stick around for a little bit and say hi. Oh, I like to do, when I raid, since you guys, since we don't have the emote shared between everybody to be able to do it, I just put together this call sign to make it easy if you want to say something when we join the raid. It just kind of makes it fun to say something. I say Subcreation Radiation, which was very awesome giraffe, and loved the Ganbreeder images. Great, thanks Yarrow, I appreciate that. Okay, so you can copy this and just paste that when we go in. Kind of makes it fun. I got that from Russell Stewart. Said we should. He had the idea because he always says Flannel Flanders when he does his raid, and that's fun. Flannel Flanders raid, because he kind of wears a flannel. It looks a bit like Flanders, he thinks, which is funny. But ours is, our call sign for now is Subcreation Radiation. And so thanks for joining. Hopefully see you on Wednesday. We'll have a new installment for the Ganbreeder story. So if you signed on there and see the story, you'll find out what happens next. And yeah. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Russell Stewart's hilarious. He came up with that. So great. I'll see you guys later, and good night. I should like roll credits or something. I don't have them. I have the 5 seconds while it does this. All right. Bye.